Hey guys, my name is Emma and today I have a crazy story for you. Enjoy the video. This past summer was the worst summer ever. It's the start of June and me and my wife have been together for 8 going on 9 years and have been engaged for almost 3 years with 2 kiddos. Our wedding was fast approaching August 6th. Since day one of becoming engaged, we were both so happy and were very much looking forward to our big day. June 3rd, I took her to an overnight work event, and during that another woman had made a comment about her eating a huge burger and if she was really going to finish that big meal. She has struggled with an eating disorder for about 14 years, so her hearing this was a very big trigger. This set the stage for a terrible 7 weeks to come. A few days after being back, I could notice a drastic change in her mood and eating, and she told me just how much that comment was affecting her. I was there for her absolutely any way I could be, and I would take the kids pretty much every day after she got off work so she could go work out, since that would normally help her mental state a bunch. Fast forward to June 23rd, and my sister had to have an emergency delivery of her 20-week-old son that was not doing well. Then the morning of June 26th, and after a couple weeks of her picking fights for no reason and not eating even though I would cook dinner every night for her, she sat me down and told me she had been unfaithful and made out with her ex, but that was it. I was absolutely devastated hearing this, but I told her I kind of knew something wasn't right. We argued for about 3 hours and I told her off and exactly how I felt and whatnot, but told her I would forgive her as long as she was telling the truth. Later that day, I got even more terrible news that my nephew was not going to make it and they were pulling the plug sometime that afternoon. My grandpa, who has been in hospice since the end of May, had also just taken a turn for the worse. So that day I was hit by an atomic bomb of terrible news, but somehow I managed to make it through. So my nephew had just passed the 26th, and now my grandpa was also going to go any day. June 28th was that day. One of my favorite people ever was gone, and it was devastating, but she was there for me physically. Her mom has seen her do this before. We were together 2 times and knew she needed serious help. BC, her mental state was as low as could be and was honestly as close to dying from not eating as you probably could be, but yet she still refused to acknowledge it and nobody could get through to her. July 19th, her mother and I had a sit-down meeting with her to try again to get her to understand what she was doing to herself, but it only made things worse. July 21st, she goes to work at her parents' house for the day. She leaves her Apple Watch on her nightstand, so I can't resist and I go through it to validate what I felt, and boy did I. I saw texts talking about good old times and meeting up and pictures and all that all. The evidence I never wanted to be right about but unfortunately was. So I drive down to confront her with every intention of telling her off and leaving her. When I got there, she was confused why I randomly showed up until she saw my pissed off face and I held up her watch. In that instant, she knew exactly why I was there and she went super pale. She burst into tears and apologized like crazy, but I was beyond pissed and wasn't hearing it. I told her she deserved that post and she had the greatest life in her hands, but she doesn't deserve me anymore and I'm too good for her. But as I am walking to the door, she grabs me and won't let go. She cries hysterically and says she doesn't want to lose me and she didn't mean to hurt me. After an hour of talking, I gave her an ultimatum and told her she gets serious help and blocks him on absolutely everything and never communicates with him in any way again, or that's it. Fast forward to now, and we ended up going through with the wedding since she started eating immediately after I called her out on everything, and she started being rational and told me she don't remember anything during June or July. BC, she was so out of it mentally from the lack of nutrition and is so sorry for what she did, and it makes her sick, and if she was level-headed she never would have let anything happen and would take it all back in a heartbeat if she could. After 5 months, I am still beyond hurt and have had to go to counseling to help cope with it, but we are in such a better space. And the love feels like when we first started dating years ago. Everyone sucks here. So you decided to marry the person who cheated on you while you were going through all that with your family. Sorry for your loss, BTW. Enjoy being her prison guard and enjoy explaining to your kids when they start noticing the tension and the resentment. Not the idiot. Is she saying that her eating disorder made her cheat and she doesn't remember it? That isn't how an eating disorder works. I speak from experience. She is using it to excuse her behavior. Did you make the wrong decision? I don't know, but I do know that life with someone with an eating disorder is hard. But being with someone who uses it to excuse behavior is the height of manipulation and personally would be very, very difficult. Hey guys, let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this story. I, 27, female, have been with my boyfriend, 33, for almost 2 years now. We will be getting married eventually, but it's not a priority. My mom won't let us share a bed if we come see them for any reason. When we came over this last summer, my boyfriend suggested renting a hotel so we could have privacy and a comfortable bed. It drove my mom nuts that we bypassed her little rules. She wouldn't drop it the entire time we were there. She made me promise not to do that again. My boyfriend's mom and dad are retired to Mexico and they are really chill. So we made plans to come visit them over Christmas. They are not Christian, so they don't really care when they see their son with regards to religious holidays. We didn't tell my parents we weren't coming. My mom asked me at Thanksgiving if I was going to hold to my promise not to stay at a hotel over Christmas. I answered truthfully that I would not stay at a hotel. I am sitting here on the balcony of my future in-law's condo looking at the Caribbean, waiting for sunrise and enjoying the peace and quiet. I made the mistake of going online yesterday, and I saw a bunch of posts from my mom and my sisters about how I was a jerk for lying to them about my plans. I may have been a little tipsy last night because I decided to respond. I said that it was ridiculous of them to try and tell me I couldn't share a room with my boyfriend, that I was keeping my promise by not staying at a hotel when we were there, and that if they planned on putting everything on Facebook, I would be avoiding all visits for the foreseeable future. They took down their posts when people started crapping on them for trying to control me, but some people did agree with them. Now they are texting me and calling to say I was an asshole for making them look bad. I asked them if they were trying to make me look good with their posts. They stopped for a while, but there were more text and voicemail this morning. I kind of like the idea of skipping out on the drama from now on. But I miss my dad and he is blameless in this. Am I the idiot? Everyone sucks here. Your mom is horribly controlling. That's not in question. But instead of saying, I won't be spending Christmas with you this year, I'm going to the in-laws, and if I come to you again, we will stay in a hotel, you lied in such a way that they thought you'd be attending. Instead of acting in the adult manner in which you want to be treated, you behaved like a kid. Hey guys, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to drop a like. Not the idiot, don't forget that your dad chose to marry your mom and he's still in the relationship. You don't have to torture yourself with your mother just to keep your dad in your life. He may have some balls to stand up to her and see you without her. If he doesn't, he may be collateral damage, as you may need to cut contact with him too. He's not blameless if he's fine for your mom to be saying and doing this sort of childish behavior. That makes him an enabler. I'm 17 and my little sister is 15. Our dad died about 10 years ago. It was sudden and devastating. One day he kissed and hugged me and sis and told us he loved us, and then we never heard from him again. At the time, I couldn't fully grasp why he chose to stay away, even though mom tried to explain it to us. I missed him and thought I did something wrong to make dad mad. I repeatedly called his phone hoping he would answer, but it always went directly to his voicemail. At his funeral, I realized I would never see him again and I broke down. I don't remember much from that day except Uncle David held me the entire time. He held me throughout the funeral, during the drive home, and as I fell asleep that night. Uncle Alan did the same thing with sis. It wasn't easy growing up with just my mom and sis, but not as tough as it could have been because the two uncles were always a phone call away. Whenever we needed help with school, one of the uncles was there to tutor us. One of them was always in the front row of every school performance and game. Whenever I wake up in the middle of the night and miss Dad, I'll call Uncle David and know he'll always pick up. My mom eventually remarried to Bob. I never liked Bob because he always had to be in control and placed us on a strict schedule. Dinner was at 7 every day, no matter what. If we came home late and dinner was over, we weren't allowed to eat that night. Whenever our uncles gave me and sis money, we had to give it to Bob and he divided the money equally. A couple of months ago, sis and I were eating with Uncle David and his family. Our dinner conversation eventually led to where I want to go for college and how to pay for it. Uncle David told me that the uncles decided long ago they were going to pay for me and sis's tuition and cost of living on campus. I cried when I heard that and laughed when he jokingly said he hopes I don't get into medical school because that's going to cost him a fortune. I went home and excitedly told Mom and Bob that the uncles are going to pay for our colleges. Instead of being happy, they both looked furious and Bob started screaming about how unfair it was to our step-siblings and half-sister that were getting a free ride through college. He wanted me to tell our uncles to divide the college funds equally among the kids, but I refused. The next day he kept on screaming at us, so sis and I packed our bags to go to Uncle David's house. He kept on screaming and even followed us out to my car. Sis and I have been living with Uncle David and his family ever since. This feels more like home than it ever did at our house. Mom has been asking us to come home for Christmas for a month now and I've been refusing. Today is the 24th and she's been calling all morning crying and saying how we need to spend Christmas with family. Am I wrong for not spending Christmas with Mom? And Tia, Bob's kids are not entitled to what your uncles have. They aren't blood relatives. I'm going to assume your uncles are the brothers of your father. You did the right thing. You and your sister were subjected to a guy that really doesn't give a shit about you and is more interested in giving what you have to his kids. Your mother let it happen. Stay with your uncles. They've been there for you all your lives, and it's clear they love you guys so much. Not the idiot. Denying you food simply because you missed the dinner bell is abusive. Getting upset over you getting a full ride to college is not great, either. Sometimes, we have to work a little harder to find people who truly love us. I'm glad your uncles are there for you. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe.